Hi, everybody. Welcome to our second May webinar. Normally, we only do one a month, but sometimes opportunities manifest themselves and you say, I can't wait. And this is one of them. Uh, and in fact, it's interesting you should mention the Auspex Award, Robert. One of these actually happened because of the Auspex Award. So I attended the Auspex Award and I gave one of the awards away. And, and one of the other presenters, Monica Mitchell, came up to me afterwards and started talking about President Curtis and a California tax credit program that they were involved in. And she was very interested in meeting more neurodivergent uh, animators. And we got together a week later, and a week later, I got to meet Anthony and Alfonso. Hi, Anthony.
Hi guys.
And now we're meeting here today. So that was one of the drivers. The second driver has been something that we've been working on for a while, which are some enhancements to our website for our members that is going to make it easier for people that are looking to hire from this pool of folks will have access. So I'm excited to be sharing that and some other new things about membership. So all this made today a very special day. So thank you for joining us. So the way we're going to do this is I'm doing the intro right now. Then I'm going to be interviewing Anthony. And then I'm going to talk to you more about the enhancements to autism and entertainment. So thanks so much for joining. If this is your first time, Autism and Entertainment is about increasing employment for individuals on the spectrum in the entertainment space. And we do that by having employers thinking of diversity as broader to be inclusive of neurodiversity. That the autism brand, changing the brand so they see you as individuals with talents and skills that can add a lot of value to their work, and about sharing resources with those organizations about you, but also about grants and other types of things that are available to make it more economical or easier for them to bring people on board. And then finally, helping you figure out your career paths. And we're going to kind of use that today a little bit with Anthony because he's going to share a bit about his career path. Thank you again for joining us and thank you for being here, Anthony.
Yeah, of course. Hello, everybody. It's great to meet you guys. And President Curtis is really excited to be teaming up with Autism and Entertainment.
Yeah, so Anthony, can you tell us a bit about your journey and how you got into animation production and et cetera?
Yeah, yeah, of course I can. I kind of did the not most traditional path, but my career in animation, I think it's most important to start off by saying I was a fan of animation first. Like, I love animation as a medium. I love the storytelling that you can do with animation, specifically the ways you could tell those stories through the medium of animation. It's always been a passion of mine. It wasn't something that I studied in school originally. Originally, I actually studied a little bit more traditional filmmaking and television production, but like deep down inside, I always wanted to make cartoons. I just loved what most of what I watched was cartoons and animation, and I just always wanted to make and contribute to an animated show or movie or be in that world. A little weird little side story is I actually started even before I worked in entertainment. I worked in I taught Taekwondo. I was a Taekwondo instructor. So I taught martial arts to children of all ages from age 3 to age 12, and then I also taught adults. And but I loved doing that. I loved working with people, but I didn't want to make that my career path. So what I did was kind of on a whim. I I sold most of what I owned and I hopped on a Greyhound bus and I went across the country from New Jersey to Los Angeles to try to get my foot in the door in animation. One important thing that I did during that process was like make contacts and go to gatherings when I got there, different types of get-togethers for people in the industry. And after a while, it took me about a year, maybe a year and a half of struggling and trying to find my way in. But through the contacts I made, I was able to get my foot in the door as a production coordinator. I didn't even know that was a viable job at the time. I was like, what does that even mean? But I was able to get my foot in the door as a production coordinator, and eventually, that led to another job, and over the course of 5, 6 years, I was producing. And for the past 4 years, 4 or 5 years, I've been producing on Rick and Morty, and more recently, the Rick and Morty spinoff, President Curtis. I'm the line producer on that. It's the first official Rick and Morty spinoff series. So yeah, I was lucky enough to get my foot in the door after about a year and a half, but it took a lot of hard work and a lot of persistence, a lot of contacts, and I think going back to my original thesis here, like what really I think put me at the forefront of people's minds when they were hiring was the fact that I was passionate about animation as a medium. Like I really wanted to work in it.
So, for those not familiar with President Curtis, can you tell us more about the series and the timing, kind of what's happening with President Curtis?
Yeah, I can definitely give a little rundown of what President Curtis is. I know Rick and Morty probably has a very passionate fan base. So people that are familiar with the show Rick and Morty, I'm not sure if anybody here is or not, but people that are familiar probably know the character of Andre Curtis or the president in that world, and he's getting his own show, which is really exciting, and we can actually talk about it now because it's been announced for a few months. For a while, it was a real secret. We couldn't say anything about it. We were like holding it in. We wanted to talk about it, but we couldn't. So, uh, it's the first official spinoff. There's been a couple like small spinoffs. There was a Vindicators, 2 3 minute episode web series, but this is the first full 22-minute web series, or sorry, TV series that's going to air on Adult Swim. First official spinoff of the Rick and Morty in the Rick and Morty universe. And so much about it excites me, like so much about it. First of all, getting the fan base from Rick and Morty excited about the show excites me, but also the fact that it is um, in the same universe, but a completely different show. So, what do you guys think of when you think of Rick and Morty? You think of this high concept sci-fi, interdimensional travel, all this crazy stuff going on. This show kind of is a more terrestrial, and it is really humor based, writing based. And action adventure workplace comedy based. So instead of interdimensional travel, it takes place all across the country of the United States, and the president is going to be fighting all these different monsters and cryptids and everything all throughout America. So that's his domain. His domain is America, and he's ready to punch the bad guys that get in the way. Um, and it still has a sci-fi streak, which is cool. It's not without like really cool high concept sci-fi episodes. Um, and I will say, even though the show itself excites me, the writing, the humor, the jokes, I'm not sure if everybody here is familiar with Keith David, the actor, but he's probably what excites me the most. I love Keith David. I'm such a huge fan of his movies, like They Live and The Thing. Like those are movies I could watch over and over again. And the fact that he's getting a vehicle to be his own show is really, to me, really cool. I know he also had shows like Gargoyles and Spawn, but this is the first vehicle for him as the star for quite some time. But yeah, that's really exciting. And I'm sure most of you guys who are animation fans know that Keith David's in pretty much every animated show that is in existence right now. He's everywhere. He's on Haunted Hotel. He's on Strip Law. He's on everything. He's on Has Been Hotel. Um, but yeah, I just working with him, he's such a cool guy. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that was great. That was great. Hey, raise your hand out there if you're a fan of Rick and Morty or watch it or, you know, see how much enthusiasm we have for that. Yay.
Very
Thanks, Simone.
cool.
Okay, let's move on. I wanted to ask you, so President, when Monica came up to me, she said that President Curtis was one of the first animated series selected for California's expanded film on television tax credit program. What does that mean exactly? for the production of animated jobs in California and kind of maybe explain that a little bit to us.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great question. I think um, it means a lot that an animated show was chosen to get the tax rebate, tax incentive. It's really going to help us make the show we want to make with the people we want to make it with. I think that's most important, you know. And this tax rebate, President, I don't know if this was already acknowledged, but President Curtis was one of only a few shows, a few animated shows chosen to get the tax rebate. So we were really lucky, and that was validating the fact that, uh, you know, I think it was two, maybe two or three shows got chosen. So it meant that people were excited about what we were making. They wanted to see more of what we were making. They saw that what we were making had an audience that was ready to respond to it positively and in an excited way. But yeah, going back to what I said, it's going to help us make the show we want to make with the people we want to make. It's going to help us bring jobs back to California. A lot of animated series, I don't think this is a secret, they farm out a lot of their animation. They farm it out overseas. Um, and this tax incentive is essentially going to help us bring some of those jobs that we otherwise would have farmed overseas back to California, which of course will then help us garner relationships with those individuals, give them more opportunities, give them more jobs, and ultimately help California, as like a whole, flourish in the animation community and yeah, bring some of that life back into the animation industry. And it still has a lot of life. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's definitely in a rough patch right now. And this is going to help it flourish once again.
Yeah, thanks so much, Anthony.
Yeah, of course.
Um, when we got together a week ago, you talked to me about your experience with neurodivergent folks, and I thought it was a real interesting story. And you want to kind of share how you have a lot of connections to the autism community.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. First, I want to share a quick story of a cousin of mine back in New Jersey. I actually just saw him last week. This is the first time I saw him in a couple years because he lives on the opposite side of the country as me. But he's a young cousin. He's right out of high school. He's just finishing up his first year of college, actually. I think it's June now, or almost June. So he's almost done with his first year of college. And he's on the autism spectrum. Growing up, uh, it was thought that he would be very profoundly autistic. And I think as he kind of grew up and as he garnered certain relationships and as he was as he figured out what his support system was, he came to be more high functioning, and ultimately, he now is fantastic at playing music. He's in rock bands. He stars in school plays. We're just really proud of him. And most recently, he actually came to me when I saw him last week, and he told me he had a secret passion, and his secret passion was he wants to be an animation voice actor. And I was like, that's the coolest. That's so cool. Um, and not only that, he actually figured out that I actually have a close friendship with one of his favorite animation voice actors. And this individual in particular is somebody who really advocates for autism and speaks openly about being on the autism spectrum. And to me, hearing that from my cousin, hearing how excited he was that I knew this person that advocates for autism, and as he's also on the spectrum, and seeing how this individual as a voice actor was hugely successful in the industry, made me really think that, well, first of all, it inspired me, but it made me really think that, there really is a place for people like my cousin in the industry, people that have the talent, people that have the drive, people that want to work hard. Um, and I think, just because somebody thinks a little differently shouldn't stop them from pursuing their dreams and ultimately succeeding. So it was really, it was really eye-opening chatting with my cousin. And I'm really grateful he came up to me and we chatted for a while it was actually earlier this week. So, and personally, I'm going to do my best to try to help him foster some relationships when he gets to that point. If he decides he wants to pursue voice acting as a career, I'm going to do my best to help him out. And I even told him I try to get a little private recording message from my buddy to send him. So we'll see if I can pull those strings. But yeah, in general, that helped. That really helped open my eyes even further. That I wanted to see him succeed and people like him succeed. And I think in just kind of going back, that was kind of just a personal story, but just kind of going back a little bit. Like I said earlier, I was a fan of animation first, and I think uh, the neurodivergent community in general often really navigate to animation and animation as a form of storytelling. They responded in a really strong way. And I think for a community that doesn't get that much representation, I think it's somewhat easier to project yourself and to see yourself in a character, an animated character. Um, and in general, in animation, you know, we work with and we interact with and as artists and production people that are on the autism spectrum on a regular basis. It's something that happens in the animation community, and not just as fans. They're not just fans. They're artists. They're employees, and I think finding a way to foster that and bring more people that have those skill sets into the industry is a really important thing. And I think when it comes to creating, there's not just one way to think, especially specifically when it comes to animation, being open to those different ways is really key in creating like new and fun content and out of the box thinking, I think is something that we need to see more of in animation. There's a lot of shows that are kind of the same, that are kind of like cookie cutter. So seeing something a little bit different excites me, and I think if anybody can think out of the box, it's people that are on the neurodivergent on the spectrum, and I really think there is a place in the community, animation in animation for the neurodivergent community, not just as fans, but yeah, as creatives, people that can contribute in a fulfilling way.
What, we're just starting to work together. What do you hope to get out of your partnership with Autism and Entertainment?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of different things I think President Curtis in particular could get out of partnering with Autism and Entertainment. I think, as many people here probably know, the animation industry is a collaborative industry. There's tons and tons of different positions in the industry, from things like uh, artists, designers, production, painters, colorists, that kind of thing. And I think ideally, President Curtis, in teaming up with Autism and Entertainment, we would love to find individuals that are a good fit for our show in those areas, in the
Yeah.
areas that there are gaps, because every single production has its limitations for sure. Every production is going to have, whether it's budgetary or manpower limitations or time restraints, and teaming up with you guys, I think will help us fill those gaps a little bit more with people that are really passionate about what they're doing.
So thanks, Anthony. So is there going to be a position open, or how do people who are out there, I see quite a few of them out there, how should they follow up with you? What kind of positions do you see opening up that our members can apply for?
That's a great question. I think um, currently on President Curtis, we are in the process of staffing up designers, staffing up paint. I think us specifically, we're probably going to need more help in the paint and color department. I think that's where we're most likely going to be looking for individuals to contribute. There's also a chance that there might be some needs potentially as an intern or a PA. But the thing about animation is it's always changing. There's always new opportunities that arise. So down the horizon, down the road, new opportunities could pop up. But that's currently what I see. Like paint and color is really where we're going to need the most help.
Okay, well, why don't we take some questions from our folks before I got maybe a question or two at the end, but let's see if anybody out there. Yeah, Robert, we want to ask your question.
Okay,
Robert.
so yeah, basically, I'm not like a big fan of Rick and Morty. I don't know too much about this, but like yeah, but like my specialty is like daytime action comedy cartoons, like say
Cool.
Justice League or like Dexter's Lab or like
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
SpongeBob, Avengers, Scooby-Doo, and like and all the like and Transformers and the like. But basically, like yeah, I'm already in a paid animation internship, and like for the graduation party for the program is attached to the Rain Man Initiative. Like Kelly Cruz, head of production at Adult Swim and Cartoon Network, will be there, and like
Mhm.
um, I might consider this, but that's like not my thing, like my specialty though. Like I was wondering how if I take this, it could lead to something like writing, character design, and storyboarding or storyboard art jobs on like say the kind of thing I want to do, like the daytime family action and comedy cartoons. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I think what you're getting at is leading to more opportunities and more positions down the road, and I think that's always a potential. I think something really important with working in animation, a collaborative industry, is garnering contacts and keeping relationships open. And if you have the drive and you have the passion and you have the talent, then it could lead to more opportunities for sure. And it could lead down a path that is more suited for what your skill set is or something that you really want to pursue. I think it's important to kind of set like goals for yourself. Like wherever you are now is great, that's where you are. Setting little mini goals, saying, okay, now I'm doing this intern job. I want to be a character designer. What's the middle ground there? Oh, maybe I could do some character cleanup for a little while, and do that for a year or so, and then maybe that'll lead into character design because I learned those skill sets as a character cleanup artist. So there's always like a pathway, I think, to get to where you need to be if you have the proper relationships and you're fostering those relationships and you keep those contacts open.
Yeah, I actually know Kelly Cruz and Britton Payne, and like I mentioned in the chat, like they said they were going to they said like yeah, like I was going to like see if they could help me get like the jobs right off the bat after like my internship is like as like a writer, character designer, storyboard artist, and TV animation on the shows I want to do, and like yeah, and Eric Coleman hopefully could help with that too, but we didn't talk much after I connect with him, so like yeah, basically yeah. Oh yeah, since like Kelly is there, hopefully it works. Like I maintain those relationships. I do so like since they did say at some point they were going to help me with this, recommend me for those jobs. So like yeah, I have to we have to like follow up with I'm saying the next steps for that are like July when Kelly comes to a partnership with the graduation party for my internship and like Britton Payne's there says he can like help me with the TV animation work and writing work at least and I can show my artwork agent. Like, yeah, we'll see what happens from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Robert. That was great, and good luck to you.
thank
Yeah.
Does
you.
Thanks for sharing,
anybody
Robert.
does anybody else have a question or a thought, that they were interested in asking? Yeah, Jacob.
Very well, guys. I don't watch Rick and Morty. I mean, I'm doing some jobs. I do a warehouse at Royal Dental in North Miami Gardens, and I'm interested that I might be locating to California. So how do
Cool.
I apply for any job out in the West Coast?
That's a great question, Jacob. I'll just start with what you said about moving to California. That was something that was advice given to me early on in my career, and I think if you have the proper resources, it's something that would help get a job in the animation industry a little bit faster than if you weren't in California. You can go to meetings in person, you can go to networking events, and that kind of thing, meetups. Um, but as far as applying to jobs, there's definitely websites and resources you can apply to. But for us specifically, we're going to be teaming up with Autism and Entertainment to try to find individuals that are a good fit for our show. And then we have a jobs email that you guys can send your portfolios and resumes to, and then we could garner a relationship that way.
Jacob,
Sounds very good.
have you been trained? Do you have an area of expertise?
Didn't have like an area, but I did some volunteering work.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Well, I think, one of the things that, like I'm looking at Shad, who's a graduate of Exceptional Minds. So, one of the things to think about, Jacob, is learning the craft and building the skill set, because that'll make you much more having a good portfolio, right? Anthony, is going to be
Yeah,
something that you'll be looking for in the candidates that you
yeah,
consider.
I agree. Yeah, I think crafting a skill set is important. I think if it's going to be something in the art world that you're interested in, if it's going to be something like I want to draw characters, I want to color characters or backgrounds
Wow,
and
that's
or I want to
great.
animate, then I think looking at my advice for that is look at the shows that really inspire you. Look at the shows that you love. If you really love Gravity Falls, watch episodes of Gravity Falls and pause it on your favorite frame. Maybe try to draw those characters or draw some of those backgrounds or try to pay attention to how those characters are moving. And that'll really kickstart your journey and kind of figuring out how animation is crafted. And I think figuring out what skill set you want to hone is important if you want to go into the art world. I think if you want to move more into the production world, that's a slightly different mindset. That's a mindset that's more, organizational and collaborative and working with the artist to give them their assignments and track their assignments. And there's a lot of different pathways to go into that world as well.
It's fascinating to hear.
Thank
Thank
you. Any other questions for Anthony? Okay. All right, Anthony, thank you so much. We will be sharing more about this opportunity as the President Curtis team starts posting some actual job opportunities, and we will let you know. But thank you so much, Anthony. It was
Of course.
great. Any parting advice for our group? You gave quite a bit of advice today, but any parting thoughts before I move on to the next
Um,
topic?
Maybe. Let me think. If I talk too much, first of all, I apologize. Sometimes I ramble.
Oh, you were perfect. No problem
Uh,
there.
but I would say if I had any advice, I think it's follow your passion. I think, if you love animation as a craft, and you want to really contribute to an animated show, I think following your passion is important. And just like I said a minute ago, if there's a craft that you want to do, it's important to learn that craft. I think it's also maybe helpful to potentially find a mentor if possible, somebody that can work on your level and somebody that's patient and kind and can help you garner that skill set. Um, and there's also no shame in being self-taught either. I think that's also something that a lot of people I work with, how they learned is by just, like I said earlier, like looking at your favorite media and drawing and copying it. So there's no shame in being self-taught. I also think, it's valuable if you're an artist or somebody trying to become a professional animation, just, constantly studying what inspires you, mimicking what inspires you. And, in order to be creative, you need to create. So just create consistently, keep making things. Even if you don't think it's good at first, keep making things. Put it out there. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Keep making it, make mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and keep going. Um, yeah, I think that's all
Well,
stuff that
thank
I've
you.
I've experienced. So if you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm always, I'm pretty willing to chat.
Okay. Thanks, Anthony. I'm gonna unspotlight you. And if you want to stay on and answer any questions in the chat, you are more than welcome.
Sure, I'll stick around.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to share my screen again. And let's just kind of. So I wanted to share with you all. Well, before I do that, thank you so much, Anthony. That was fantastic. And we
Of course.
really are appreciative
No
of
problem.
President Curtis and you spending time with us. So I'm going to share where we are on autism and entertainment, I just want you to, one of the things we're doing is a lot of pondering about what are we actually doing, and we're really about changing the ecosystem. That includes agents, includes talent, and we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of years of expanding that and making that more available to you. We're fueled financially, we have to have some money to come in to fuel what we do, and we also want to have closer relationships. So we introduced a year ago our membership program, and over the course of the last year, we started working on some enhancements that I want to go over with you. So one thing is studio tours that we offer to members. A number of you have gone on them. I know, Robert, you've gone on them. Marlene, you're out there, and I know you've taken some folks on our studio tours. And these are a great way for you to see what that environment is like, meet some people at the studio, and start networking as Anthony talked to, is meeting those people. And so these were some of the tours that we went on. We went to Warner Brothers Animation. I think that was maybe we've gone to the Walt Disney Company and saw a rehearsal for Beyond the Wizards of Waverly Place, and we went to DreamWorks and several times and got to have a tour there. In addition to that, we always offer, after a webinar, a 15-minute private discussion. So sometimes it's not comfortable to have a long discussion with someone during the webinar. And so for members, we let you sign up to potentially speak to one of the speakers from the webinar so that you can ask your personal question or get your personal advice. Anthony talked about mentor program. Right now, we're finishing up a pilot of a mentor program that we've been working on with Exceptional Minds. I know a number of you who are out there are participating in that. And these are 90-minute sessions where the first half hour is a instructional taught by Catherine Wells from Exceptional Minds. And then you move into mentor circles. These are the great mentors that we have working with our folks. And this was a comment that Tyler made about his experience, but he really has Tyler's been someone who's very, very driven about his career, and this really had helped him get insight into the mentoring process. We've had a lot of successes, and this is just a handful of them, and how they participated with Autism and Entertainment. So this is Julian Grazak. He's been part of our video team since the beginning. He worked on the spotlight videos for the conference. He's been working on a number of videos. This is Marlene and Danny and Julian at Comic-Con, where he edited and worked on some of our documentaries for Comic-Con, and we just found out that we're going to be going for the third time in a row. So he's really gotten a lot of experience and really developed as a filmmaker by working with Autism and Entertainment. This is Tyler. Tyler was in touch with us before the conference, trying to change what we focused on in the conference and have an influence on us to be sure that we included voice actors. And he ended up being our voice of God. He's gotten a role at God's Gang as the narrator for the show. He has his own YouTube channel. One of the things he wanted was representation, and he now has both a manager, who's Marlene, as well as representation from Adam Lieblin at the Eris Agency. And so for Tyler, he's come a long way in the last 2 years by being engaged with Autism and Entertainment and working all the other areas, opportunities to network and make things happen for himself. Josh Bass is a personal friend of mine. His mom has been involved with Autism and Entertainment since the beginning. She coordinated our volunteers. And he got an opportunity to work with Disney in their worked in the television animation where they had a color design internship, and he's been working on characters at Zavicon, and he's also now working on a series with Jimmy Lifton. So he's getting a lot of these experiences. So I wanted to share our website and what we launched this week. So here's our Autism and Entertainment website. I think it's painted there. There you go. How many of you visited at all? Raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but we have all our recorded webinars here. And we have our upcoming webinars, and we have our events calendar where we show what's happening, and it's not necessarily what's happening with us. Now, I'm really excited to launch some new things, which are that you can now log in if you're an Autism and Entertainment member, which means you paid the $100. So I'm going to log in here. Well, I am logged in. So let me log out so I can log in again. So I'm going to log in real quick. Okay, and what's new are the talent book. So here, the talent book, and I did this for my son, this allows you to create your own profile. And let me go to our talent book. And so these are all the folks. We did a pilot of this. So here's a number of people that are part of Autism and Entertainment. So let me show you Gustavo's, who's a recent graduate of Cal Arts. And it allows you to create your own profile. You can connect to your own website. You can connect to YouTube. You can connect to your LinkedIn. And what's great is that if someone is interested, so if Anthony says, you know, let's go back. I'm going to go to the talent book. I'm going to look for somebody interested in, I want an animator. Here you go. Here are 3 different people. So Anthony looks at this and says, let me look at Gustavo's background. Wow, this is really impressive. You know, yeah, I'm interested in connecting. He just clicks connect, and Gustavo will get an email saying that Anthony wants to talk to him. And so then the 2 of them can talk about opportunities with President Curtis. And so this is something that if you are an Autism and Entertainment member, you can create a profile, but you can also see other people's profiles. Why is that important? Because you may want to create your own. Robert may write a great script, and he wants animators because he wants to produce it and see it created. So he's going to reach out to Shad, and he's going to reach out to Simon, and he's going to reach out to other people in the community to say, hey, I want to create an animated series. Are you in? You want to work with me? And so it not only allows employers to connect to you, but it allows you to connect to others. So that's a really exciting new feature, and I shared it with the folks over at President Curtis, and we're going to work on expanding our business members so that they will in turn be able to find you. But you need to work on becoming a member so that you can create your own profiles and participate in this community. So that's a big change. So let me see. Is Paul with us? Any questions on that new feature? Yeah, Robert.
So basically, like people from all the major studio streams networks are going to find us like through this this new feature, right?
In time. We've got to get them all wanting to being aware of it. So making you aware of it is where we're starting, and making them aware of it. So hopefully this will go viral. In terms of, I will be sending out an email to the members to explain how you log in and how you get your password and how you create a profile. But basically, you can just go. You would just log in and you give your normal email address, and then your password is your last name with the first letter capitalized. And then you can quickly change your password, or you can reset your password if you'd like. So yeah, and then I wanted to mention any other questions about that.
Yeah, one thing I can do with this hopefully is like share his profile with like Kelly Cruz and Bryn Payne and like maybe earlier than like July hopefully, and they can they can like recommend me for
Yeah,
positions like not necessarily their studios but like anywhere else.
hopefully. I mean, Britton is a member of our group and he's pretty active, so hopefully, we had
Okay.
lunch with him this week and we started talking about that. So you never know. You never know. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I had there's been a lot of discussion about mentoring, and I know that a lot of you have questions. And so starting in July, I think July the 7th is our first one. We are going to have an hour discussion where you can ask your questions. So it's just basically you're asking questions. That's going to be led by Paul Hamstreet, who is an executive producer at Warner Brothers for over 24 years. And he's going to always have someone from the industry and an educational partner there to help answer your questions. So if you have a challenge, you want to know how to network, what kind of mentor programs could you join? This is where you walk. Robert has a bunch right now. You're going to be finishing an internship. What do you do next? So the purpose of those monthly calls are to give you an opportunity to get some really input that you might need. And that again will be a members only activity. After this webinar, I'll send you information about becoming a member, or for those that are members, about logging in. But, I really encourage you to become a member so that you can take advantage of all these new abilities. So being able to watch all the recordings, we're going to start not necessarily having all our recordings out there. So if you want to see a webinar, you may be asked to be a member to register for events early. And we've often offered discounts for some events. And then being able to take advantage of the talent book and attending our meetings. So any questions about any of this? Yeah, Simone.
Hi, I was just wondering about, well, I have two questions. The first one is there a studio tour coming up anytime soon? Or is that just something we should keep checking the website for?
Keep checking. I know we've been really busy lately, but we have a few planned out, so we will be launching them probably nothing this month, but maybe starting in June. And
Okay.
we let our members know about those.
Okay, great. And the
Yeah,
other one,
Robert.
quick.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead,
I'm
Simone.
sorry, just about the mentorship program. So that has not started yet, right?
No, it did. It did.
Oh,
We let our members know. We had opened up 10 spots for autism and entertainment members and 10 spots for exceptional mind members. And I think we ended up with like 8 and 8. And we're just finishing off that. And so we're going to finish it and then see how it went. Is that something you would be interested in, Simone?
probably, yeah. I can definitely, well, I made a note about the discussion in July. I was just
Oh,
wondering
yeah.
if there was
Yeah,
something I
that one.
should do before that.
No, no. No, the one in July will be, you don't need to apply ahead of time or anything, just be a member. We'll let you know. And that one you can just show up to and
Mm.
say, oh, I have this question. I don't know what to do about something, or I heard about a film festival and I want to apply, or whatever it
Okay.
is, and get the advice you need.
Yeah, we would definitely be interested in the mentorship if there's any opportunity for that again coming up. So,
Great. Thank you.
mhm.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert.
You can't tell us like which studio tours you were planning, like to which studios?
Well, Marlene's here and she's the one who usually plans them.
Yes, I have been getting a lot of questions about upcoming studio tours, and I just want to point out to everybody, A, it's a work in progress, so it does take a moment. But perhaps our special guest today, Anthony, our special guest, maybe he has a hookup for some tours. Let's
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, Anthony, is it possible to get a tour of the Rick and
Rick and
Morty?
Morty Studios? I don't see why
Yeah.
not. I'd have to clear it all with Monica, and Carissa would have to set up it officially, but we can definitely get those pieces in
There
motion.
you
Let's
go.
do it. Let's
Yay.
do it. Yay,
Yeah.
Anthony.
Marlene, always, always recruiting.
I'm a
Yeah,
hustler. Warning, Anthony, you will be hustled some more. So get ready. Get
No worries
ready.
at all. Yeah, I would love to like personally give the tour to anybody interested. As long as we can set it up. Obviously, it needs to run through the right channels, but if I'm available that day, I'd love to give everyone a nice comprehensive tour of Rick and Morty and show you guys how animation's made here.
Yay. Okay, we won't
Yay.
forget.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, great. So we've got a Rick and Morty tour in progress, Robert Messerian. So there's that. And then also, equally as exciting as tours, if not more so, are the live events and different in-person things that we offer, that we present, such as last week, I don't know if you heard, but we participated in Netflix is a Joke comedy festival, which is like the biggest comedy festival on the planet. And my producing partner, who is on this Zoom right now, Rob Kuttner, and I and Judy and Spec Labs, we all put our heads together and we produced a show at the Laugh Factory. And the whole show was about neurodivergent performers. Everybody in the show, with one ally, or maybe two allies, Nick Novicki and Alexa Felice. So it was a big, huge hit. We sold out the theater, and it was great networking. There were VIPs there and everything. Then, because that wasn't enough, a bunch of us participated in the Night of Too Many Stars on Thursday night at the Hollywood Bowl, which was a fundraiser for Next for Autism. And a lot of our community knows about Next for Autism, has participated in their initiatives and so forth. And we had a lot of folks from Autism and Entertainment in the audience and on stage. So I'm very busy. So it's not that we're ever slacking on the job. We're just working so hard. And sometimes things take a minute to organize. So do check the website very often. And also LinkedIn, because very active on LinkedIn. And you will see all kinds of treasures that you can take advantage of. And they might come in different forms. So be on alert.
Right. I was thinking though, like major studios, like referred to as like I was thinking like Nickelodeon or like Cartoon Network or like or like what's called Disney's live action studio campus or Marvel Studios or like or like the LA based like video game studios like the major studios from like I don't know like THQ Activision Santa Monica or like THQ Nordic, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, those would be great. I agree with you. Those would be awesome.
Some of them we've done, some of them we'll do again.
Yep. Yeah. Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network are kind of the same entity, and we toured Warner. You were with us, Robert, right? You were
I know
there.
you were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had that tour, Robert.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, maybe I would think for now we could try something different. Like what's it called? Maybe like what else? Like
You
what's it called?
just keep coming up with those ideas. It's good to, a lot of our ideas come from you folks,
Mm-hmm.
and we are all about trying to make your dreams come true.
Yeah.
but sometimes it takes work. It always takes work.
It takes some work.
So none of
Yeah.
us are Tinkerbell that we can just wave our little wand and it happens. It's a lot of phone calls and talking and stuff, but at the same time, knowing what it is that you're looking for is really helpful. So,
Uh-huh.
Robert, you have, please do share your ideas and we'll see
Right.
what we can have happen.
Yeah, the
Thanks.
one I want to do like the most for next tour is like, let's say, major studio tours and like the Amazon MGM Studios a lot, or Netflix studio a lot, or like TV animation stuff like Nickelodeon, like, or Cartoon Network. Yeah,
Okay.
those four are the most important. Yeah,
Great,
Yeah.
great suggestions. Yes. Duly noted.
thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Robert.
Oh, Rob's hands raised. Yes, Mr. Kuttner.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be in the same virtual space as you, I guess. I don't know. Um,
Hey, Rob.
I'm hearing a lot about these cool tours and Los Angeles-based things, but I'm also wondering what AIE does for offers people who live in other cities besides LA in terms of online and sort of more general opportunities.
So a lot of our activities are virtual. So these webinars like today or the Q&A or things online. I know that we have one very active member who lives I have two that live in Canada. So in terms of bringing those physically to them, we're a bit away from that. I mean, we have to,
No, I just mean like what are they?
yeah.
Can you sort of go into more detail about what is offered that you do online
Oh,
already? Could you sort of explain that?
sure. So what you can do already is you can join our webinars. We do those once a month. You can also read our newsletter, which has things in there. We're going to be starting you can have access to the website and create your profile. You can um, do, some of the mentoring programs that we have can be done remote. Um, Marlene, you got more?
Um, well, let's see. I'm sure there's something. We used to do the creator community, but that's going to be more like this. It's morphing into this talk monthly get together with that Paul's initiating, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, Judy. I forgot what we're calling that.
I don't even know yet. We'll figure out a good
Chat
name
with
for it.
Paul Hemstreet. Yeah. Some quality time with Paul Hemstreet is coming up. It's just, it's like online.
How about you better call Paul?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, so Paul's gonna take us to new heights of networking with monthly Zoom connective activities and things like that. And that's going to take the place of the creator community, which we did as a combination of live event and stream. It was live and streamed, both from LA and Orange County, which was great, but it was a heavy lift on our side. And we had a lot of technical challenges and things
Well,
like that.
really what we found is LA is that people can't travel in LA and be somewhere at 5 o'clock in the evening.
That's true
That's what we
too.
learned. It's impossible to get anywhere in LA at 5 o'clock on a Thursday evening. That's what we learned. And so we said, and because in Orange County we had good turnout and the virtual had huge turnout, but that LA component was impossible because who's going to want to be on the 101 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Not me. So we kind of took a pause and said, we still believe in the concept about the creator community, but we need to figure out the right vehicle for doing that. And having this talent book is really a critical part because what we're trying to do is encourage you guys to work together and to get to know each other. So the more we can do about doing that, and then, we're kind of thinking what would be the next step. And what we found was a lot of the people who would pitch ideas in the creator community really needed a little bit more help uh, as they tried to make their projects into reality. And we really didn't have a mechanism. So I'm hoping, Better Call Paul might help in terms of provide mentorships to people who have a project and say, okay, how do I, you know, how do I get a spec script for my show going, or how, whatever it is that you need to do. So we're still a young organization. We're in our terrible twos. And so we don't know the answer to, and we're doing things that nobody's ever tried to do. So we don't necessarily know everything we should be doing, and that input comes from you. And we don't know quite how to get it done, and that's us figuring that out. So with the great team of people that we have in the background. So I hope that helps answer your question, Rob. You're one of those great people in the background. So if you have some other ideas, that's great. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you again, Anthony. Now I'm looking forward to seeing you on that tour.
Of
And
course. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing anybody that wants to come on the tour. I'd love to show you guys a little inside baseball.
okay. All right. Take care, everybody, and have a great weekend. And thanks for joining us today.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Appreciate you
See you
having me.
later,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
Everybody
bye.
have a good day.